One thing that is interesting is that you cannot calibrate yourself or balance yourself. Often, so how can I achieve balance? How can I calibrate? How can I make things work? Horizontally, as a horizontal being, when you incarnate, you are in a state of fractalization. Fractalization meaning whenever you have not understood something and that's being released in your existence, when you don't understand it, it will be pulled apart into its different ingredients. And then you can study them separately. And if you still don't get it, that will be split up into individual ingredients, and you can study that. And it never stops until you get it, until you're able to interact and learn. And then the process is to reassemble, which is defractalization. But all of this, you do not experience oneness. You experience things, manifestation, spaces, physics. And it simply means that you are in a fractalized state. What you are as oneness is not something you have realized yet because you are experiencing this. So it's important also when we deal with the ego that we do not tell ourselves that, ooh, I'm completely in oneness, I get it. You would not be incarnating here if you were in that state, but you're studying it. And fractalization is quite interesting because there is nothing wrong with it. It's like when you study something as a whole thing and study its individual parts, it's still the same thing. It's just interesting in a different way. You get deeper understanding. So fractalization is absolutely necessary. It's not sinful. It doesn't mean that you're not advanced enough. It's simply how we study the universe. Now, if you can understand, bear with me, that everything you experience in life represents many different lines of karma, many different types of strengths, many different levels of consciousness within you, within your journey. It's not like you have one thing that you're studying. You're studying many principles, many different levels of understanding. You're in multiple cycles at the same time. And all of that turns into the different manifestations that you experience. This is also why you are experiencing a kind of discombobulated universe, lots of stuff, and it doesn't seem to fit together. Because you're relating to many different strings and many different levels of evolution within yourself at the same time. And your life, what you're experiencing is a cross-section of that. If you think you have many lines of evolution going at the same time, they're in different levels, you're experiencing that. Which means you cannot create harmony between the individual manifestations. And no matter how hard you try, you can't. The harmony you can achieve is not outside of you, it's inside of you. But outside of you, if you think of each manifestation and each group of manifestations representing instruments playing different pieces of music because they're coming from different sources. You could be the greatest conductor in the world and it will still sound like a complete mess because it's not the same piece of music they're playing because they're coming from different levels of evolution, different principles, different everything. So look at your life, look at all these different manifestations. They cannot melt into one. They don't have to. But often in our lives, we seek outer harmony, outer healing. And this is why it can never happen. So when we get frustrated with our lives and we desperately want to have that horizontal harmony, it means we have to move into a state of complete denial. Because it only feels good when we disconnect. That's why we do it. Right? We want to withdraw. We want because that's when we can feel harmony. because we think it's a horizontal type of harmony, but it isn't. Now, how can we then achieve a state of harmony? We need to go to the highest point, raise our consciousness, but understand that we have to open ourselves to the intelligence of the universe, because that is in oneness. And remember, like in the biggest of all biggest pictures, there is harmony because all the pieces fit. The thing is, this gets worse the further you go, because sometimes your disharmony is that you're trying to, lay a jigsaw puzzle, but you have one piece from that end, one piece from that, and one piece from that, and you're trying to combine them, right? Because if you have like 5 pieces, well, they should fit together. Maybe they belong to different parts of the image. And you need to see that before you can lay them correctly. And often in our lives, we think because things exist in the same space. Oh, I have 3 pieces here. They have to be part of the same area. So you jam them together and it makes no sense. The only way to lay them correctly is to see it from above and to apply the intelligence of nature, which is not ours. And the further we go and the more we let go, the more the eyes of life can be used to instruct us where to lay the different pieces, because we can't see it. And this is also part of expanding your consciousness for real. You cannot rely on your own eyes anymore because you're simply too limited. When we operate through form of an individual, there's a limit to how far we can see. And we will always be observing through a particular point, which is the individual. At some point, when we stretch and when we grow spiritually, the images that we are relating to are so vast that we no longer can rely on looking at it from any particular point. We have to let the intelligence take over. We have to let the eyes of life, the eyes of oneness, to see for us. And it means we have to grow out of this need to receive confirmation that we are right. I have to see it for myself. I have to understand. This is why surrender is so important. It's relating to the fact that an individual is limited. The universe is not. And in a state of surrender, then we can be part of that intelligence. We can be part of, in a way, the information coming from the complete picture. But the moment we try to grab it, the moment we try to make it ours, it's gone. It's all about alignment and being in harmony and letting the universe work through us.